Did you know that going under contract does not guarantee that you will be able to close on the property? It's true. But the vast majority of reasons that deals fall out of escrow contract are completely avoidable. I spoke with several of the best lenders and agents in my network, one of which happens to be my freaking roommate slash friend slash whatever, in order to compile a list of the most common reasons that a deal might not close. I then compiled the best solutions for these issues in order to ensure you can sidestep these potholes. Now, here's that list, but first,
smash the like button.
Smash the like button.
And say, don't forget to subscribe.
Don't forget to subscribe.
And now say, what's up, military millionaires?
What up, military yo-yos?
Military yo-yos. If you haven't met him before, this is Jackson. Jackson, tell him how old you are.
I'm 4 years old.
You're 4 years old? Are you 3? Did we just get done eating ice cream? We just got done eating ice cream. Oh, all right.
I put this over your head.
Bye-bye.
financing large transactions while under contract. Any large transactions you finance, or even just purchase while you're under contract, can affect closing. So let's say, for example, that your debt to income ratio is pretty close to the minimum necessary for you to qualify for your home. If you then go and finance $3,000 worth of furniture for your home, you might find that your debt to income ratio increases enough that you can no longer qualify for that loan. Same could be said for a large cash purchase, especially if the money was needed to show for cash reserves or closing costs. Bottom line is this: from the time you are pre-approved for the loan until after you have closed on the property officially, you shouldn't make any large purchases or finance anything at all. If you really have to or think you're going to, talk with your lender and your agent, specifically your lender, and make sure it won't affect anything, right? Now, miss payments on any loan, especially a mortgage. I feel like this should be self-explanatory, but don't miss any payments on loans you have out. A friend of mine accidentally missed a mortgage payment while under contract to purchase another home. And as a result, he was unable to purchase the property. And it was a total accident, right? Like, this person, well off, you know, they had enough properties, one got lost in the wayside, right? So don't be that person. Don't be the payment he didn't miss the payment because of lack of funds, but simply because he forgot to send the payment, right? Make sure you don't miss any payments for any loans while you're under contract. Don't change employment or pay structure. Now, unless you receive a pay increase, you shouldn't change anything with your current employment or pay structure while you're awaiting closure. For example, if you're paid on salary, and you have been for the last few years, don't switch to a commission-only compensation structure, even if it means you'll make a lot more money until after you close on the home. The reason is that your W-2 reflects a salary for income verification, and therefore there would be no way to verify your income on a commission basis. If you're considering any pay or employment changes, talk to your lender first to confirm whether or not it will impact your purchase at all. This is even better, even more important during the pandemic timeframe, because now banks are checking employment like day before closing even more religiously. So just better safe than sorry, ask the question. Misrepresenting savings or reserve capital. So misrepresenting is the nice way to put this, but the reality is that a lot of people lie about how much money they have in their savings accounts, 401ks or investments or whatever. Your lender is going to need to see all these account statements, so just be honest from the beginning. Your 401k balance may be considered as cash reserves for the property, but if your balance is much lower than you originally stated, it could really throw things off for you. Closing costs. This is very important. Even with the VA loan, which can be zero down, you will be expected to pay closing costs unless the seller agrees to cover all of them in the purchase and sale agreement. You can expect to pay 2 to 3% of the purchase price for the closing costs of the loan, right? On the high end, closing costs could be as much as 5% of the purchase in more affordable markets. So just make sure you ask your lender and title company for an estimate, and then be prepared to pay these closing costs, right? Now, you can negotiate these out in the purchase and sale agreement or after seeing the inspection report, but it's better to have the money and not need it than need it and not have it. Cash to close. I would suggest having an additional 1% of the purchase price on hand in the event of anything unexpected. right? There are expenses that might arise close to closing, so just make sure you have a little bit of extra money. It's a good practice anyway, because having some cash in reserves for maintenance is a smart move for any property you're purchasing. Asking the seller to repair everything on the inspection report. This is more of a psychological thing on the buying side than anything else. Often when first-time home buyers get their inspection report, they see all sorts of random things listed on it. So understand that while it is normal to try and negotiate a little based on repairs that are needed, you won't get everything on the list fixed. So I generally choose like 5 or 6 items, especially those items listed as like warning or coded red and yellow on the report. And then use all the small repairs as leverage to say, like, look, I'm not asking for any of these items whenever they counter that way. If you ask for everything, the seller's probably just gonna be like, nope, especially in a really hot market. So you gotta find that balance, right? Like a lot of the little things you can fix yourself, like doorknobs, light switches, outlet covers, whatever. It's the big things. So your agent will be able to walk you through all the different creative ways to get things repaired or receive money for items that need repairing, but don't get so wrapped around these items that you're unable to come to an agreement with the seller, right? The bottom line is this: the vast majority of the time you go under contract, you'll end up buying the property. In fact, at the time of writing this, I've gone under contract on at least 12 different properties and portfolios, and I've not fallen out of escrow yet on any of them. Now that I think about it, it might be like 12 in the last year. Anyway, you should have nothing to worry about, but make sure you're communicating with your lender and agent regularly in order to ensure you have your ducks in a row. Now, prepare for the worst, but expect the best. Ask about what to budget for closing costs and ensure you have these funds easily accessible as a reserve for any issues that might arise. Look, bottom line is this, right? Closing on a property once you're under contract, pretty easy to do most of the time, as long as the stars kind of align and the property was priced right, appraises, nothing crazy on the inspection. Closing's pretty consistent. Just don't do anything to shoot yourself in the foot. If you're gonna make any big financial decisions or buy anything large or take on a little extra debt or even pay off debt, make sure you run it past your lender and don't accept like large chunks of change into your bank account like the week before you're going to close and think that that counts as your reserves, right? It needs to be in the account for like 2 months worth of reports. Just be smart with this stuff, right? There are a lot of options out there, so just be smart, keep your options open, and make sure you're asking your lenders and agents for information, and they'll be able to help you out. On that note, I mentioned it, but if you go to FromMilitaryToMillionaire.com/VA-Realtor, I'll be happy to hook you up with one of my lenders or agents. It baffles me how many people don't understand the VA loan and don't even know how to fight for you as a buyer with the VA loan. In fact, me and one of my lenders just gave a 30-minute presentation to the real estate agent team that I use for investing and purchasing and buying and selling, and they're incredible, and they just didn't understand the VA loan. They knew it a little bit. There's a lot of things that just nobody knows, and so that's why I like to try to hook you up with people who do know that, because having a good lender and a good agent on your side is an incredible and a powerful tool. So yeah, hit me up if you want that, and make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Whoop, whoop.